My best friend died of massive postpartum hemorrhage. Chen Jingchuan said he didn't want his child to grow up without a mother. To repay the life-saving grace my best friend once gave me, I became the child's mother. I gave up my promising career and willingly became a full-time housewife, taking care of the daily life of the father and son as consistently as if it were one day for 7 years. However, he was always indifferent. Only in the passionate late-night moments would he show a bit of tenderness, and then hand me a few contraceptive pills. On New Year's Eve my throat felt uncomfortable. Right after I swallowed something, I vomited it all out with the "whoa." Chen Jingchuan flew into a rage, scolding me for having improper thoughts. To punish me, he locked me out on the open-air balcony to get drenched in the rain. The son came in a hurry with an umbrella, but indifferently walked past me and handed the umbrella to the nanny who was about to go out. At that moment I decided to leave. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, enduring the discomfort of high fever and weakness, I handed him the divorce agreement. He frowned unhappily and asked me, "Just because of the punishment last night? Zhao, as long as you don't cross the line, I won't punish you. Always look for reasons within yourself." I suppressed the urge to defend myself and said hoarsely, "Sign it." What about the son? Since he wasn't my biological child in the first place, of course I wouldn't fight for custody. But you don't need to divide the property with me either. Consider this part as my alimony for him. Chen Jingchuan looked up in surprise. No wonder, after all, usually I cherish this child the most. He said with a stern face, threateningly, "I advise you to stop while you can. If you keep going, there will be no turning back." It seemed that he believed I was just throwing a tantrum by getting a divorce. But what he didn't know was that from the moment I decided to divorce, I had no intention of turning back. I didn't explain any further and took the signed divorce agreement back to the room. Seeing me packing my luggage, Chen Jingchuan said, "It will take some time to go through the formalities. You don't have to move out in a hurry." I calmly replied with the words he had once said to me, "No, it's better to cut the Gordian knot when doing things." Then he didn't say anything more. There was a lot of luggage, but I only took the essentials. When I dragged the suitcase out, Chen Jingchuan was reading a science newspaper in the living room. At such a young age, he was extremely self-disciplined, just like his father. Of course, like his father, he was also indifferent to me. He put down the book and walked up to me, looking impatient. "Are you really going to divorce, Dad?" I nodded. Although he had no expression on his face, I could still see the joy in the corners of his eyes. Then he said to me in an arrogant tone, "In the future, I'll allow you to come and see me, but only once a month. I'm afraid Aunt Sue will be unhappy if you come too often." The Aunt Sue he mentioned was Chen Jingchuan's first love, Su Ro. If it hadn't been for the Bangu in the Su family and their emigration, Chen Jingchuan probably wouldn't have married my best friend. Recently, Su Ro returned to the country, and the two got back in touch. He also often took Chen Junliang to see Su Ro. Su Ro was a racing driver. Chen Junliang thought she was very cool and amazing, but he didn't know that I had won the KCCI Annual Driver Championship for several consecutive years. He disliked me so much that he didn't even give me a chance to take him to play racing. In the past, I would be sad because he liked Su Ro and didn't like me. But now my heart is as calm as still water. What happened last night made me see things clearly completely. Ungrateful people can never be tamed. I didn't even give him a glance and directly opened the door and left. When I was almost at the gate, Chen Jingchuan came out. "What's the rush? You haven't found a place to live yet, have you?" I didn't say a word and opened the gate. "Where are you going? Let me send you with the driver." "No need." After being caught in the heavy rain all night last night, my whole body was burning hot and my head was splitting. Dragging my body that might faint at any moment, I used up my last bit of strength to walk out of the gate. But not long after I went out, my eyes went black and I collapsed. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. It was a passing aunt who brought me here. The doctor said my condition was very serious and asked why there was no family member accompanying me. "I'm sorry, doctor. I have no family." The doctor immediately showed a look of sympathy. I forced a bitter smile. Strangers I had never met before could show me kindness, while the father and son I had wholeheartedly cared for 7 years could be so heartless. For the first time, I felt that these years had really been a waste. After getting a few intravenous drips and my fever subsided, I left the hospital. I really wanted to take a spontaneous trip and have a good time to relax, but life isn't like a TV drama. I haven't worked for all these years. Chen Jingchuan only gave me a little money for groceries. I haven't saved much money. I temporarily stayed in a hotel. The next day, I called the leader of the TV station I used to work for. Before I got married, I was the most popular host of the weather program on the TV station. When I decided to resign, many leaders thought it was a pity. But I was wholeheartedly devoted to Chen Jingchuan and gave up my future. At that time, I was young and full of enthusiasm, really thinking that sincerity could be reciprocated. Unfortunately, I ended up like this. This year, without facing the camera, I didn't have high hopes. Unexpectedly, the leader arranged for me to meet the station director without hesitation. Although I had been busy taking care of the father-son duo these years, I still made time to work out, so I maintained a good figure. Coupled with my outstanding professional capabilities in the past, after discussion, the leaders decided to give me another chance. I moved my luggage into the apartment prepared for me by the station director, and embarked on a new life. After a 1-week business familiarization period, I smoothly took up my post. On the first day of my return to the stage, I broke the highest rating record in the 7 years since I left. The station director was extremely delighted and held a celebration banquet for this. When the juniors toasted me, I subconsciously refused. Sorry, I don't drink. Only then did I remember that it wasn't that I didn't like drinking, but because Chen Jingchuan said he didn't like me drinking, so I quit. Now that I'm divorced, of course I don't have to care whether he likes it or not. I smiled and took the glass. Just kidding. I can drink. Saying that, I raised my head and downed it in one gulp. After a few rounds of drinking, I was a bit tipsy. At this moment my phone rang. It was the police. Miss Xiaoanqi, your nephew has been found. I immediately sobered up and took a taxi to the police station. When I saw that little guy at the police station, my eyes instantly welled up. Blood relationship is really a magical thing. This little guy was simply a miniature version of my younger brother. Sure enough, the police told me that after a DNA comparison with my younger brother and sister-in-law, it was confirmed that he was their missing son. Back then my sister-in-law took Kaylay to the park. When she turned around to buy him cotton candy, he disappeared. My sister-in-law was so remorseful and sad that she had a mental breakdown. 10 days after the child went missing, she couldn't bear it anymore and committed suicide. Losing his wife and child in succession, my younger brother aged more than 10 years overnight. He, a grown man, cried like a child. I felt really bad seeing that. At that time, Chen Jingchuan was only 3 years old and very clingy to me. He would stop crying only when I held him. But helplessly, in order to help my younger brother find Kaylay, I had to painfully hand Chen Jingchuan over to his grandmother. A month later, someone said they saw a very similar child in a town. My younger brother rushed there non-stop. When he arrived, he found that the child was even of a different gender. My younger brother was heartbroken and in a trance, he fell into the river and unfortunately drowned. Not long after, the police told me that the human traffickers were smuggling the children to the United States, but the ship they were on capsized and sank, and all the people on board died. Your nephew should have been among them. True, the clues were completely cut off, and I was left with only Chen Jingchuan and Chen Junliang, these two sole relatives. After handling matters here, I went to my mother-in-law's place to pick up Chen Junliang, but I never expected that when Chen Junliang saw me, he would no longer call me mom in a sweet voice. He didn't remember me. Later, after he started school and interacted with his classmates, he liked me even less. He thought I wasn't as capable as other mothers and said I didn't have a proper job. The words of the police pulled me out of my memories. It turned out that Kaylay was clever and hid in the trash can and managed to escape. He didn't board that ship. A homeless man picked him up and the two had been dependent on each other for all these years. Recently, that old man passed away. Someone found the child living alone and called the police, so Kaylay was found. He was dark-skinned, thin and stubborn-looking, which really made people feel sorry for him. I squatted down and touched his little head. Don't be afraid. I'm your aunt. His eyes blinked as if thinking about something. Baby, from now on you'll never go hungry or be cold again. You'll live with your aunt from now on. My sister-in-law was an orphan, so there were no grandparents. Now I was the only relative Kaylay had in the world. I took Kaylay home, washed him clean and put new clothes on him. When I held his little hand, I found that his hands were full of chilblains. I took the first aid kit and gently applied medicine to him. The little guy was very tough. Although it was obviously very painful, he endured it without making a sound. I put on an animated film for him. You stay by yourself for a while. Aunt will cook you a bowl of noodles. When I finished cooking and came out to call him, I found that he had fallen asleep at some point. I covered him with a blanket. When he woke up, he rubbed his eyes, looking so cute. I was in a daze, remembering that when Chen Junliang was a child, he was also very clingy to me every time he woke up, hugging my neck like a sloth, extremely adorable. I couldn't help but hold Kaylay in my arms. Instead of hugging my neck like Chen Junliang, he touched my face. I came to my senses. Kaylay, I'm your aunt. Follow your aunt from now on. This is our home. The little guy looked up at me with bright eyes. Aunt, why aren't you my mom? Aunt is your dad's older sister, not mom. Do you want to see your mom? He nodded. I held him and showed him the old photos one by one, telling him about them by the way. After looking at the photos, he suddenly kissed me on the face and called out, Aunt, in a sweet voice. At that moment, I felt my heart melt. Kaylay had reached the age to go to school but had never been to school. I quickly contacted a kindergarten and sent him there. He had a strong adaptability and didn't cry and make a fuss like Chen Junliang did at first. Life went on in an orderly manner, and Kaylay and I became more and more familiar. I usually liked to make some snacks. Things that Chen Junliang disliked, Kaylay ate with great joy. One day when I was making pumpkin balls for Kaylay again, I received a call from Chen Jingchuan. He seemed to have just woken up, his voice hoarse as he asked me, there's a mall opening ceremony tomorrow. Instinctively, I told him everything about what dress to match with what jewelry, even specifying which piece was in which wardrobe. After I finished speaking, I fell silent. I found that this seemed to have become a mechanical memory. Chen Jingchuan didn't seem to be fully awake yet. The sound of him rummaging came from the receiver. He didn't say anything on the other side. I reminded him, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up. He suddenly asked me, do you want to go with me tomorrow? I found it ironic. Before, when I asked him to take me to banquets, he never agreed. Now that we're divorced, why would I go? I won't go. And don't call me anymore in the future. For these things, whether you find a stylist or a nanny, in short, don't come to me. We're already divorced. After saying that, I was about to hang up when I heard him change the subject. Today, I'm taking Chen Jingchuan to Zhongmao Times for a swimming class. You can come and take a look. Without waiting for him to finish, I hung up without hesitation. I put down my phone and continued to make pumpkin balls for Kaylay. Life went on so quietly until the day I came out of the live broadcast room and received a strange call. It was the head teacher of Chen Jingchuan's kindergarten. He said that today was the art class parent-child day, and parents were required to participate with their children. All the parents had arrived except for Chen Jingchuan's. The teacher warmly invited me to go, but I interrupted him. Teacher, sorry. Chen Jingchuan's father and I have divorced. His custody was awarded to his father. I won't take care of these things anymore in the future. The teacher was a bit embarrassed. I continued. Is Chen Jingchuan next to you? After getting an affirmative answer from the teacher, I asked him to turn on the speakerphone. In front of all the classmates and parents, I said calmly, Chen Jingchuan, you also confirmed last time that your father and I have divorced. I'm no longer your mother. I won't take care of your affairs anymore. Don't call me anymore in the future. After saying that, I said sorry to the teacher and hung up the phone. After work, I went to the kindergarten to pick up Kaylay. We went to eat at Hey De Leo. The next door table was having a birthday. I suddenly thought of Kaylay's birthday. When I checked the calendar, it turned out to be this Sunday. On Sunday, I pushed off all my work in advance, just to spend time with Kaylay. He must not have had a birthday in all these years. After ordering, I told him to wait for me in his seat. I went to get the cake. I was carrying the cake and walking towards the restaurant when I unexpectedly ran into Chen Jingchuan. Su-ro was standing next to him. Su-ro spoke first. Aren't you in the middle of a divorce with Jingchuan? I ignored her and walked past them towards the inside. But Chen Jingchuan grabbed me. He said sarcastically, so arrogant, aren't you? I knew you couldn't hold out for a few days. Now you're here with a cake, fawning over your son for his birthday. Aren't you ashamed? I was speechless. Get out of the way. Who said I'm here for his birthday? Chen Jingchuan froze. If not for your son, then for whom? I didn't want to entangle with him anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Get out of the way. You three can have a good time. Chen Jingchuan's face immediately darkened. Zhaoanqi, that's enough. Don't push me until I'm really angry. I directly pushed him away and entered the restaurant. As soon as Kaylay saw me, he waved at me with a smile. I waved back at him. Chen Jingchuan was sitting at the table next to Kaylay's. He looked at me with disgust, obviously mistaking my wave as being for him. I ignored him and sat next to Kaylay. Chen Jingchuan and the others were shocked when they came in and saw me and Kaylay. Zhaoanqi, who is he? None of your business. Chen Jingchuan was extremely angry, but he held back because of the public changhua. Kaylay and I feasted without distractions. When we were almost done eating, Kaylay wanted to go to the bathroom. I wanted to accompany him, but he said no, so I didn't insist. I saw Chen Jingchuan also walking towards the bathroom. I guess he was going to the toilet and didn't pay much attention. But not long after, the waiter shouted, "Hurry up! Which one of you is the parent? 2 children are fighting here." I jumped up and ran towards the toilet. Chen Jingchuan and Kaylay were lying on the ground, both with injuries. When he saw me, Chen Jingchuan finally couldn't hold back his tears and said aggrievely with red eyes, "Mom, it hurts so much." Under his helpless and pitiful gaze, I didn't hesitate to squat down and hold Kaylay in my arms. "Is Kaylay okay? Did he hurt you?" I looked around to check if Kaylay was injured. Chen Jingchuan immediately broke down. He suddenly burst into tears. In fact, since he started kindergarten, he rarely cried. But at this moment, he was crying to the point of collapse, looking really wronged and extremely sad. In the past, when I saw him like this, I would definitely immediately squat down, hold him affectionately and coax him gently. Don't cry, don't cry. Mom is here." But now I was indifferent and concerned only about Kaylay. Kaylay said obediently that he was okay. "Aunt, he said I should stay away from you. He said you're his mom. Is that true?" I shook my head. He's talking nonsense. Aunt is not his mom. When Chen Jingchuan heard this, he suddenly stopped crying, as if he had been frightened. He opened his eyes wide in shock. At this moment, Chen Jingchuan's voice was heard before he was seen. "Humph, still being stubborn. When you heard the children fighting, you didn't even." But he stopped halfway. I thought to myself why he was so calm when he heard the children fighting. It turned out he thought I would come to take care of Chen Jingchuan. He was shocked to see Chen Jingchuan standing alone in the corner, while I was holding Kaylay in my arms. He said angrily, "Zhaoanqi, your son is crying from being beaten, and you're still holding someone else's son to comfort him." As he spoke, he reached out to pull Kaylay. I slapped his hand away. "We're already divorced. It was made clear during the divorce. He's no longer my son." He was afraid that his Aunt Sue would be sad and asked me to visit him less. "Have you forgotten? Now I only have my nephew Kaylay, no son." I once accidentally overheard Chen Jingchuan talking on the phone with Su-ro. He said, "My mom is really annoying. I can't stand her anymore. And Sue, if you were my mom, that would be great. If dad and mom get divorced, will you marry my dad? I want you to be my mom. Now I'm fulfilling his wish. He should be very happy, shouldn't he? I picked up Kayleigh and was about to leave but was stopped by Su-ro. She spoke in a teacher-like tone. Sister Angie, I have to say a few words to you. Junliang is the son you raised single-handedly. How can you say such things? I sneered. You're always trying to drive a wedge between us. Do you think I don't know? Weren't you the one who taught him to tell his dad to replace me as his mom? Anyway, he likes you more. Why don't you be his mom? Chen Jingchuan looked at Su-ro in shock. Su-ro quickly denied it. Jingchuan, don't listen to her nonsense. I was too lazy to waste words on them. I left with a wish your family of 3 happiness and perfection, and then left with Kayleigh in my arms. A week later I received a strange call. When I answered I found it was Chen Junliang. His voice was a bit choked. Mom, you've got the wrong number. I'm not your mom. Suddenly there was some sniffling on the other side. Seemed he was crying. Mom, it hurts so much. My arm is injured. My heart suddenly constricted, and I reached out to directly hang up the phone. I was afraid that if I listened for one more word, I would subconsciously soften my heart. He was the child I had wholeheartedly taken care of for 6 years, the flesh and blood of my best friend. When there was a fire in my house, the fire was so fierce. I was huddled in the corner, almost on the verge of death. It was my best friend who rushed in without hesitation and rescued me. If it weren't for her, I would have been burned to death long ago. I had always loved Chen Junliang as if he were my own child. Looking at him, it was as if my best friend was still alive. When he was little, he was really clingy to me. The first word he uttered when learning to speak was Mom. When he was a child, he would cry whenever anyone else held him, but he would stop crying only when in my arms, just staying quietly, extremely cute. Sending him to his grandmother's house was a turning point. After that, he was no longer clingy to me. He didn't pester me to sleep with him at night anymore but asked Chen Jingchuan to put him to sleep. At this moment, his fragile and soft voice made those Chunfengda memories gush out like a spring. Aunt, why are you crying? Kayleigh used her little hand to wipe away my tears. Only then did I realize that my eyes were wet. Fortunately, there was Kayleigh. The little guy had a very sweet mouth and was very sensible, capable of healing all my negative emotions. Soon Chen Jingchuan called. I didn't answer but he kept calling. I had to block his number. But he would call from different strange numbers so I had to answer. Can you stop calling? We're already divorced. If it's about getting the divorce certificate, you can notify me by text message. The son is injured. Su-ro took him to play racing and caused it. The child is in great pain and has been clamoring for you. For an injury, find a doctor. What do you want me for? I can't treat it. Chen Jingchuan said in disbelief. But he's the son you've taken care of for 6 years. How can you say such cold-blooded words? I found it funny. Cold-blooded? I'm just fulfilling your wishes and his. Didn't he say he didn't like me and wanted his Aunt Sue to be his mom? Now that his leg is injured, he should go to his new mom. What does he want me for? And don't you think you and your son are funny? When I was around, you hated me to the extreme. Now that I've made way, you call me every now and then. Aunt, look. I finished the jigsaw puzzle. Kayleigh showed me the completed jigsaw puzzle. Suddenly, Chen Junliang's voice came from the other end of the phone. His voice was full of anger and incredulity. Mom, I don't care. You're my mom. I won't allow anyone to take you away. You can only play jigsaw puzzles with me. Before, I did only play jigsaw puzzles with him, but he said they were childish and not as fun as video games. Since video games are bad for the eyes, I always forbade him from playing them. Now he wanted to play with me again, but I no longer regarded him as my son. I turned my head and praised Kayleigh with a smile. Wow, great job, Kayleigh. You're so amazing. Today you'll be rewarded with grilled chicken wings. Mom, do you really not like me anymore and have changed to like that guy? I interrupted him. I really don't like you anymore. You don't deserve my love. Go to your beloved Aunt Sue. I'm no longer your mom. After saying that, I hung up the phone. Days passed quietly like this. The next time I saw Chen Jingchuan was at my doorstep. Kayleigh and I had just come out of the elevator when we saw him, and he was holding Chen Junliang's hand beside him. Chen Jingchuan opened his mouth in an annoying way. Are you still angry? If not, hurry up and pack your things and come back with me. He was really self-righteous. Even now, he still thought I was just throwing a tantrum. I was so angry that I laughed. Chen Jingchuan, I've said it many times. I really don't want to be with you anymore. I've had enough of this kind of life. You've also signed the divorce agreement. Your being so indecisive now really doesn't match your style. I know it's because of the punishment I gave you that day. I'm here to apologize to you humbly now, okay? I chuckled. You're overthinking. That day's incident was just a trigger. It's not the point. The point is that I no longer want to live with you. And a reminder, this isn't how you apologize. After saying that, I walked past them to open the door. Just as I was about to enter, Chen Junliang suddenly hugged my leg and looked up at me eagerly. Mom, do you really not want me anymore? I nodded. Don't you like Aunt Sue more? He whispered. I don't like her anymore. I didn't answer. I took Kayleigh's hand and entered the house. Chen Jingchuan followed in as if it were his right. You live in such a house. I really don't know what you're thinking. Leaving a nice big villa and coming to this cramped place. My patience ran out and I said irritably, Chen Jingchuan, can't you understand me? We're already divorced. You're entering someone else's house without the owner's consent now. That's called trespassing. Get out. He still thought I was being stubborn and didn't leave. I had to trouble the property management to ask him and Chen Jingchuan to leave. Early the next morning, I went to work and saw him waiting for me at the entrance of the community garage. I didn't want to pay attention, but his car blocked mine. He rolled down the car window. Let's talk. About the divorce. We should make a clean break. Otherwise, this constant entanglement really affects my mood. We chose the nearest coffee shop. I sat across from him and said coldly, "What do you want to talk about? Just say it. You haven't been eating well recently, have you? You've lost some weight." I paused. "Don't talk about irrelevant things. Just talk about the divorce." His face visibly turned ugly. "Are you really determined to divorce me? What about our son? Let's not talk about these repetitive topics." It was all settled that day. Custody is yours and I don't need visitation rights. Although he's not your biological child, he's the child you raised with your own hands for 6 years. Do you really want to just watch him become a child without a mother? I sneered. How could he not have a mother? Su-ro can just be his mom. Anyway, Chen Jingchuan likes you and likes her too. It can be regarded as fulfilling his wish. His lips pursed into a straight line. After a pause he said, "Don't misunderstand. There's nothing between me and Su-ro. It's not what you think. Stop pretending. You seem so reluctant to part with me, trying to get me back here. It makes me sick." His brows furrowed as he defended himself. "I really didn't want to divorce you sincerely. Yes, he really didn't want to divorce me. How could he be willing to let go of a free nanny? The reason he signed that divorce agreement without hesitation was that he was sure that I was throwing a tantrum because of that day's incident. When I calmed down and thought it through, I would find that I couldn't bear to part with him and the son and would definitely compromise and come back for the sake of the father-son duo. At the very least, for the sake of my best friend, I would come back. Then he could completely control me. Maybe he would even mock me for coming back to beg for reconciliation after only persevering for a few days. Unfortunately, he was wrong. He was overconfident. I had completely accumulated enough disappointment. As for the kindness of my best friend, I will explain it to her well when I see her in the future. I think she will understand me. He was still chattering on and on with his explanations, but I couldn't listen to a word. Okay, we've reached an agreement. I know you understand what I mean. From now on we'll go our separate ways. I've made an appointment to get the divorce certificate at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. I hope you'll be there on time. Early the next morning I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I was worried about leaving Kaylee alone at home, so I took him with me. Chen Jingchuan was fairly honest. He came soon, but he also brought Chen Jingchuan. "Anshi, I'm here on time, but I'm not here to divorce you." I was puzzled. "What do you mean?" "The son cried all night yesterday. He missed you so much that he couldn't sleep. He's just a child. He did say a lot of hurtful things to you before, but he's the child you've held dear in your hands and loved for so many years. Can you really bear to see him so sad? Look at the child's dark circles." As he spoke, he pulled Chen Jingchuan in front of me. Chen Jingchuan looked at me pitifully with red swollen eyes. Before, I really did regard him as the apple of my eye, taking care of him meticulously, fearing that he would melt in my mouth or fall from my hands. But he didn't deserve my love. I still remember one time when school was over at the kindergarten, I went to pick him up. Usually, the nanny at home picked him up. This time it was me. I reached out to take his hand. The teacher looked at me warily and asked him, "Chen Jingchuan, who is he? Don't go with someone you don't know." He looked at me hesitantly and didn't speak. Suddenly, Su-ro appeared from nowhere. Chen Jingchuan rushed into Su-ro's arms like a small cannonball. "I want to go with her." The teacher asked him, "Who is she? Is she your mom?" He hesitated for a long time and actually nodded. Then he just left with Su-ro. The smile on my face froze instantly. At that time I felt as if I had been slapped hard in the face. My mind was buzzing. That was the first time I went to the kindergarten to pick him up. I was afraid of being outdone by other moms, so I especially had my hair done and ironed my clothes several times. Thinking of this, I still felt bad. Chen Jingchuan looked at me with tear-filled eyes pitifully. "Mom, I miss you so much. Won't you hug me?" If it were before, I would have been extremely distressed by his appearance. I would have immediately picked him up, kissed him and comforted him. But now I just looked at him coldly. "I'm not your mom. You don't have a mom anymore." As I spoke, in his expectant eyes, I picked up Kaylee beside me. Chen Jingchuan suddenly broke down and burst into tears. But I just looked at him coldly and remained unmoved. Seeing that I didn't comfort him, he rushed over and reached out to pull Kaylee. "Don't you have your own mom? You little brat, get down quickly. He's my mom. I won't allow you to take my mom." He became more and more out of control. I sidestepped to avoid him, and he fell to the ground with a thud. His palm turned red, and there was even blood on his knee and calf. Chen Jingchuan hurriedly squatted down to check his injuries. Chen Jingchuan looked at me with red eyes. With eyes extremely wounded and aggrieved, yet I merely regarded him coldly. Chen Jingchuan furrowed his brows in disbelief and said, "Zhao Anqi, you've truly changed. You used to dote on our son so much. How could you be like this now?" I couldn't help but sneer. "Of course I've changed. Did you think I would serve you and your son like a servant for a lifetime? I also thought my life would be like that forever. But fortunately, heaven has eyes and has made me see your true colors. You two are completely ungrateful wretches. Now I don't want to waste any more time on you. Do you understand?" Just because I punished you to get drenched in the rain on New Year's Day, but you crossed the line. I interrupted him. Cross the line? Cross the line? You're so confident. You really think too highly of yourself, don't you? Who said I wanted to have a child with you? We had already agreed before marriage that I, Zhao Anqi, would only have Junliang as my child in this life. You know very well how attentive I've been to Chen Junliang all these years. But you simply didn't trust me. You never treated me as your wife. You never once spoke to me on an equal footing. Even now, you still act high and mighty, expecting me to go back and continue being your free nanny. You think I must go back. Unfortunately, it won't be as you wish. It's completely over between us. After today you go your own way and I'll go mine. We'll have nothing to do with each other. For the first time, a look of panic and unease appeared in Chen Jingchuan's eyes. I'm sorry, Anqi. I really didn't give our relationship enough thought before. Can't you really forgive me and Junliang? We truly made a mistake. The child is still young. He can't do without you. You can also bring back your nephew. Let's live together, okay? I was merciless. No. The light in Chen Jingchuan's eyes instantly disappeared completely. Not even for Chen Junliang's sake? Can't you give us another chance to make amends? I snorted. Chen Junliang, you tell me yourself. Do you have the nerve to say that? You regret it? You say you miss me? Did you cherish me when I was by your side? How did you treat me? At the kindergarten gate, when the teacher asked who I was, you remained silent. As soon as Su-ro came, you rushed right up to her and even admitted she was your mom. Chen Junliang, although you're only 6 years old now, I have to say these words. Although I'm a mom and an adult, I can also feel hurt. You've hurt me time and time again, and that's more than enough. Now I don't want to give you any more chances to keep hurting me. So from today on, I'm no longer your mom. I hope you can understand and stop making a fuss. Kaylay and I already have our own lives. I don't want to go back to the past. Chen Junliang cried to the point of collapse, tightly hugging my leg and refusing to let go. I don't believe it. I don't want this. I was wrong, Mom. You used to love Xiaoyang the most. Whether it's Su-ro or anyone else, I won't pay attention to them anymore. I only want you to be my mom from now on. Wah! Chen Jingchuan had no choice but to instruct the bodyguard beside him to carry him away. He knew I had made up my mind and finally decided to divorce me. He insisted on giving me a portion of the property as compensation, but I refused. Before leaving, he suddenly said, I'm sorry, Anqi. Believe it or not, I really loved you. Although I only realized my feelings now, please believe me. I smiled faintly and turned to leave. Later, Chen Jingchuan didn't let go as easily as he said. Instead, he started to pursue me again. He said that before, I married him on behalf of my best friend, so it was understandable that our marriage failed. Now he wanted to pursue me openly for who I am, Zhao Anqi. He asked, would you give me a chance to be my girlfriend? I'm a single father. I have a child. He's 6 years old this year, but he's very well behaved. He rambled on a great deal, but I only said one word, no. He didn't give up. He still ordered milk tea for me and bought gifts, enjoying it tirelessly. Until 5 months later, I got a new boyfriend. The boy was a new intern at our TV station named Gu Xiao. He had secretly admired me on TV for a long time and said I was his idol and senior. He said, I got into this station just for you. I even rejected an offer from CCTV. You can't reject me. After getting along, I found that we were extremely compatible in terms of both our values and personalities. Moreover, I also wanted to give Kaylay a complete family. He also needed an uncle-in-law. On the day we confirmed our relationship, Gu Xiao cornered me downstairs and kissed me for quite a while. After the kiss, I watched him return to the apartment. When I turned around, I saw a familiar figure under the street lamp. It was Chen Jingchuan. The moonlight and the street lamp made his face deathly pale. He had a stubbly beard, and he looked haggard and broken. What are you doing here? As soon as I spoke, his eyes instantly turned red. Anqi, is there really no chance for us anymore? I smiled calmly. You should have just seen it. I just got into a relationship. The sweetness of love made the corners of my mouth rise uncontrollably. The light in his eyes instantly dimmed. Can't you not be with him? His voice was choked, looking pitiful. I spread my hands. That won't work. The young man likes me so much. He's been chasing me for almost 2 months. But I also like you very much. I'm sorry. It has to be a two-way street. I like him more. I don't like you anymore. After saying that, I got into the car. Chen Jingchuan seemed to be frozen in place, standing there motionless. It was only when my car drove away that I saw through the rearview mirror that he squatted down, covering his face and crying bitterly. The last time I saw him was at my wedding. Our wedding was held in a church. When we were exchanging rings, I was attracted by a figure at the door crack. I looked over and found it was Chen Jingchuan. When his gaze met mine, he dodged in a panic. After that, we never saw each other again. Later, all the news about them came from our former mutual friends. Chen Junliang went abroad to study. He left for a foreign country alone at a young age and seldom came back. It was said that apart from asking Chen Jingchuan for money, the two never contacted each other. He even hated Chen Jingchuan because of me, blaming him for driving me away and making him lose his mom at such a young age. And since my marriage, Chen Jingchuan had completely fallen apart. He didn't go to the company anymore and drank alcohol all day long. The workers said that in just a few months he seemed to have aged 10 years and lost his vitality. Now the company has gone bankrupt, and it seems he's working for someone else as a grassroots salesperson. However, it was said that every August 29th, he would go on a picnic in Century Park. I smiled faintly. August 29th is my birthday. I did mention before that this was my birthday wish. But now I don't like picnics anymore. Later, I secretly went to the UK to see Chen Jingchuan. He had become withdrawn and introverted, completely different from before. That night, I dreamed of my best friend. She said a lot of things to me, saying that she missed her child so much. I finally softened my heart and decided to reconcile with Chen Jingchuan and also with myself. Chen Jingchuan was overjoyed when he learned that I was willing to accept him. Looking at his somewhat similar eyebrows to my best friend, I completely let go. However, I also have my own family now and can't take care of him like before. He's not greedy either. He comes to stay with us during holidays and has become good friends with Kayleigh. As for Chen Jingchuan, I can never forgive him in this lifetime.